welcome back to Sustained Overruled. I am your host. All right. Okay, so obviously, the past few days we have been talking about what is this? The mixing of genitals between Fani Willis and Nathan Wade. So we're continuing with that theme tonight, okay? So tonight, we want to get into Terrence Bradley's testimony, but we're just going to tune into Fani a little bit because obviously it's funny. And, she is the legend who brought us 50 Big. So we're going to start off with Fani and then we will get into Terrence Bradley's testimony. And then I need to charge my phone, but we definitely need to get into the appeals court decision as far as Bonnie's disqualification is concerned. And I know Real Thing said she wants us to go over the dissent again, which we are going to do. Shout out to the replay crew, okay?
Concerns about potential danger.
Hold on, let's go back a little bit. Let's get to the question.
All right, Mr. Sadal, you can re-ask the question. We'll see where it takes us.
Okay, thank you. Was your father still living in your house at the time you moved to what I would refer to as a Yurti condo?
Yes, sir, he was due to his concerns related to
Right,
COVID.
this is where we left off.
The safety concern was that there was potential danger at your house. Is that correct?
Yes, my address had been exposed, so yes, there was concerns about potential danger at my house.
Okay, so anyone staying at your house in the time period after you went to the Yurti condo,
To COVID.
I don't know why it keeps doing
the
that.
safety concern was that there was potential danger at your house. Is that correct?
Yes, my address had been exposed, so yes, there was concerns about potential danger at my house.
Okay, so anyone staying at your house in the time period after you went to the Yurti condo was still in danger, correct?
Yeah, well, no.
I think you have to.
Yeah.
It's your attorney, Ms. Willis. Sorry, Mr. Bott.
Right, like, I don't know. Let's leave Funny alone.
Speculation
Yes.
to the question of
Speculation.
whether someone was still in danger at her condo,
Just let her answer the question.
or Mr. Sadal wants to rephrase.
No,
I'm not
I
sure.
was able to
I've got-
understand it.
I've got the objection.
Yeah, she makes a terrible witness. Generally, not witnesses. Attorneys make terrible witnesses. We've seen that from Fani. Nathan was, I don't know. Not sure about that one. I'm on the fence. The father, Mr. Floyd the third, he was a decent witness. I mean, just going back, even Kayla Bumper, she was awful as a witness. Who else did we see on the stand in Fulton County? I know, but attorneys generally make terrible witnesses. They generally make terrible witnesses because even Fani cannot take direction from, the folks that are supposed to be representing her. In any event, let's quickly switch over to Terrence because I don't want to be overcritical of Fani. Big shout out to Obag and her ironing board. She says, hello, I've been so busy the last few days. She has a few goats, you guys. I know you've missed me, probably cried. Yeah, Obag, I missed you. I'm not even going to lie. I definitely missed you. I've been, holding on to my ironing board. I've been using the ironing board cover as a tissue, so I'm glad you're back. All right, so let's switch over to Terrence. One moment. Let us switch over to Terrence Bradley. Because from my recollection of Terrence, I'm trying to think back. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that he was the one that tipped off Ashley Merchant, okay? And if I remember correctly, if I remember this testimony well, he was kind of evasive. But let's get in here. So somebody says, I love Judge Judy, you guys. So Christian in the comments says, when you tell the truth, you don't have to have a long memory. Yeah. Somebody else says the thing with lying, you need to have a super good memory to remember your lies. He said, dude got finesse. He thought the Weigel was his friend. His attitude tells you all you need to know. He knows the truth and admitted in those texts. All this, I need to get a glass of water. All of a sudden in court, he doesn't remember. Take all. Okay, I'm not going to read that. Somebody says it's so painfully obvious that these people are corrupt and seem incapable of telling the truth. The question now is, will this judge do blah, blah, blah? Okay. Somebody says, funny how lawyers seem to have bad memory. Bad memories when they are in the hot seat. Yeah, that seat does that to anybody and everybody. So I'm getting distracted. I don't know. I want to look at this. Hold on. I want to, let me just screenshot. We can get into this. I get easily distracted. You guys know that, but I'm interested in this video here. I just took a picture. Let's get into it. Let us get into Bradley. Oh, Beg, I absolutely missed you. Okay, I absolutely missed you. Come on.
All right, we are back on the record with 23 SC 188947. If we could have counsel starting with the state identify themselves for the record for the purpose of today.
All right.
Adam Abadi for the state, Your Honor.
All right, and in order of the styling, let's start with former President Trump.
Why do they have Nathan Wade out here? I mean, he was a witness, so I don't see why he is sitting at the counsel's table. In any event, let me go back.
Styling, let's start with former President Trump. I think we have Mr. Sadow on Zoom.
You do, Your Honor. Good afternoon. Steve Sadow for President Trump. We waive his presence, and I believe Ms. Little is also on Zoom.
That man was not president at the time of these proceedings, so
And
I don't know what he's talking
Okay,
about.
thank you, Mr. Sadow. On behalf of Mr. Giuliani.
Alan Stockton on behalf of Mayor Giuliani. I think David Lewis and John Esposito may be on Zoom as well. And we waive his presence.
There we go. On behalf of Mr. Meadows.
Your Honor, Jim Durham on behalf of Mr. Meadows, and he waives his appearance.
Thank you, Mr. Durham. On behalf of Mr. Clark.
Harry McDougall, Your Honor, and he also.
The one person that definitely got their day in court, as far as, this, what year was that? Was it 2020 election? It has to be Giuliani, because Giuliani for sure, he got he got the brunt of everything, as he very well deserved.
Waives his appearance.
Thank you, Mr. McDougall. On behalf of Mr. Chile.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Richard Rice, President Court, Chris Anilowitz is on Zoom, and Mr. Chile waives his presence.
Thank you. On behalf of Mr. Roman.
Good afternoon, Judge Ashley and John Merchant, on behalf of Mr. Roman, and he waives his presence.
All right, on behalf of Mr. Schaefer.
Greg Gill and Anthony Lake on behalf of Mr. Schaefer.
All right, come on,
He waives
folks.
his presence.
Please.
On behalf of Mr. Floyd.
I could just.
We also waive Mr. Floyd's
Oh,
appearance.
hold on. Who's his attorney?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Chris Kucherov and Mr. Floyd. We also waive Mr. Floyd's appearance.
Thank you, Mr. Kucherov. And on behalf of Ms. Latham.
Oh, did they say Floyd?
Anybody here on behalf of Ms. Latham?
Oh, I remember. I think that's the there were two black people indicted in this. The lady, I don't know how to say her name. And I believe there was a man. So okay.
All right, I know before we'd had Mr. Cromwell, and I had not heard anything from him. I don't know if any other parties have as well, but
You know, I believe Mr. Cromwell is in a deposition in South Georgia. That's all I know.
all
All
right.
right.
There's a Zoom participant, Mr. Cromwell.
Looked like he joined.
Okay, that's helpful to know. Mr. Cromwell, can you hear us? All right, well, we'll keep an eye on that to see if he does join us, and we'll take it up as it comes. So, just a few preliminaries. First of all, I'm a bit under the weather, so I'll try to speak up. But if anyone can't
Okay,
hear
I'm gonna skip.
That's it. Camera
Skip through.
is that determination. I didn't see any other choice but to allow the parties to have an opportunity to explore that.
I know. I'm just gonna move
Mr.
forward.
Avant.
I believe Mr. Wade was released from his subpoena.
Oh, hold on. Wait. Okay. Yeah. Let's.
Just,
Yeah. They're getting into the stuff. Okay.
Is there anything else we need to cover before kicking that off?
Mr. Wade, he's still a potential witness. Except he still needs to be removed. We'll continuing.
Mr. Avant?
I believe Mr. Wade was released from his subpoena when we concluded his testimony the last hearing. So unless he's been resubpoenaed, and I have no knowledge of that, he has every right to be present.
Sure. I think procedurally that would be accurate. And
Okay, so I'm just gonna pause right there. Okay, I'm gonna pause right there because even and this is exactly why I cannot fathom why Fani Willis and Nathan Wade thought they could commingle their reproductive organs and the defense would, not come at them. And here's a prime example. So Nathan Wade testified. He was no longer under subpoena. He was sitting at counsel's table, and the defense had a problem with that. It goes back to my point. Under these circumstances, it does not matter if it's a criminal trial, a civil trial. Defense is going to come at you every angle and every chance they can. And this is prime example of that happening under these circumstances. And that's exactly like I do not know what Fani Willis was thinking. I don't know. And I'm not giving Nathan Wade's reproductive organs a pass, but this is under her watch. If she wanted to commingle, she wanted to commingle genitals with Nathan Wade by all means. But she should, I don't know. I think that Fani has enough legal experience to, yeah, because wasn't she a criminal defense attorney? Like, what do these people do with the experience? Do you throw it out the window when you move on to the next job or next position? I'm just baffled. Like, I'm baffled.
so at this point, I don't see a means where he would need to be.
Here we go with Old Bag. Old Bag says, this courtroom seems huge. Does it? I don't know. It kind of seems standard to me. And then Old Bag, I do not have the answers. Okay, I don't have the answers.
Called, and but if it is, then that is something you can take out.
And I'll share the link just in case anybody has questions if they want to come up here. I'm gonna have to go get my glasses though. I did not want to get my glasses, but I'm gonna need them as we go over the decision.
All right.
Because this is it's 2 hours and 21 minutes. I don't think I do pause a lot. I do not see us getting through the entirety of this testimony. But that's because I really want to get into the decision. So, yeah.
Mr. Bradley, through his attorney, had informed me that he would be here today in person. I don't see him in the gallery. Do we know if he's out in the hallway?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. If we could call for Mr. Bradley.
All right. Man, I don't know. I need to see that again. Yeah. Listen, all these people, they brought this upon themselves. Bradley brought this upon himself. You did not have to be out there gossiping. You did not have to be out there gossiping. Now look at you. What a mess.
Judge, would it be permissible to sit in the jury box?
That's fine.
Thank you.
What a
All right,
mess.
Mr. Bradley. Deputy Scott will swear you in again.
What a mess.
I do.
Terrence Bradley, Terrence, Bradley, Bradley.
Thank you, Judge.
What are you writing? Mr. Bradley, what's
Mr.
going
Bradley.
on?
Good afternoon.
Good to see you. Sorry, under these circumstances.
That girl said, sorry under the circumstances. Let's go back.
Good afternoon,
Let us
Mr.
go
Bradley.
back.
Good afternoon.
Good to see you. Sorry under these circumstances.
Girl, you're not sorry. Like, what? Under these circumstances.
I'm going to just go straight to where we left off.
Yeah, I mean, before we even get into, the nitty-gritties of all of this, I don't, that's why I don't text people. I do not text people. If I'm going to text you, it has to be over, I don't know, what's for dinner or something. I don't want to be called on the stand. As much as I love gossiping, I'm not gossiping via text either, unless it's with my sister. So, yeah. Oh my goodness, ironing board. I'm not even gonna read that. Yeah. Why don't you like his tie? I need to scrutinize his tie.
Before, Fani Willis and Nathan Wade were in a romantic relationship, correct?
Correct.
And it began at the time that they were both municipal court judges.
I like the way she started off good. She started off well because we know Ashley Merchant trial skills are a bit shaky.
Correct.
Objection, Your Honor.
Now you're making me zoom in here, old bag. Like,
Based on privilege.
I'm trying
That
to.
we covered in the attorney-client privilege.
Yeah. Okay. What don't you like about his tie? Kind of matches the stripes, right? Or maybe I don't know.
Okay, overruled.
No, I think that's actually plaid. Those aren't stripes. What am I talking about? Yeah, this is, I don't know. Attorneys. That's a thing. He represented Nathan Wade. So why would he be talking about his client to another attorney via text? I don't know. We need to take a deeper dive and look at some of the ethics decisions coming out of. I'm going to need my phone in a little bit, Zeta. You can have it for 30 minutes, and then I need my phone. Our girl needs to be asleep. Like, she really, really needs to be asleep. But we need to take a closer look at the ethics decisions, or the ethics. Yeah, it's going to be decisions, because I don't know that we can actually, be present at the hearings, because I think that was Ohio. There's some YouTube channel. The YouTube world has expanded, okay? And sometime this week, randomly on YouTube, I ended up on some ethics YouTube channel. I mean, they were disciplining attorneys, something along those lines. But we need to take a closer look at Georgia, because I do not understand. I just cannot comprehend some of this behavior.
It began at the time that they
Not
were
even some, a lot of it makes no sense to me.
both municipal court judges, correct?
Objection, Your Honor, based on privilege. That we covered in the attorney-client privilege.
Okay, overruled.
I do not have knowledge of it starting or when it started.
Terrence, you told me that it started when they were both municipal.
She said Terrence. It's a they are on a first name basis. Oh my
court
goodness.
judges, though, correct?
That is incorrect.
You never confirmed in writing that it was, instead of magistrate court, it was in municipal court judge when they started dating?
If you're speaking of the text message, you can go to that text message and you can read that text message, and I will explain the text message to you. But you and I did not have a conversation about when it started. You asked a compound question of magistrate court versus, I mean, you said it was magistrate.
That's not a compound question.
Court municipal you said magistrate court conference. I'm sorry. And then you asked another question.
I
said
recall
no.
that, but okay.
Municipal court, nothing else.
I'm referring to a different conversation.
Sheesh.
I asked you, do you think it started before she hired him?
And I'm going to object. This was covered in
I don't know. I don't know what these folks were thinking. I don't know why. I guess sometimes when I don't know, endorphins. So old Dag says the plaid is nice, but the tie is so boring. What did you want him to wear? Of course he doesn't look happy. He brought this upon himself, though. He brought this upon himself. As unhappy as he looks, I don't know why he was gossiping about his client to another attorney. It makes no sense. What was the purpose of these people? Like, what was his purpose for texting Ashley Merchant? Did he not think? Did he not think that she was going to call him on the stand? And I'm just saying this because I would have pulled this move. I am definitely that type of person. If I have information that is going to be advantageous for my client, I'm using it. No questions asked. And then Olbeck says he looks like he's pouting. This man's not happy. He's not happy, but he brought this upon himself.
His hearing where Mr. Bradley said he had no personal knowledge of the exact text that Ms. Merchant is speaking of and actually used in an attempt to refresh his recollection. And he explained exactly what he's explaining here before the court. So this is repetitive and unnecessary. And so I would object to asked and answered and relevance at this point.
I think I'm missing, might be missing a video, but I'll carry on from here. I'm just going to have to find the sequence. We'll take it from here, though. We'll take it from here. I might have to watch what's this? We might have to watch Nathan Wade a little bit. To me, I'm sorry, Nathan Wade is really charming. So
Perhaps we'll get there, but I think first Ms. Merchant
you
has
can
to.
hear me smiling, all right? So maybe Fani could not resist, which is okay, but she should not have mixed her genitals with his genitals.
The right to draw his attention to the exact, potentially inconsistent statement.
Thank you, Judge. May I approach him?
So overruled.
This
You
is
may.
the text I can use.
All right.
So you can see. So I'm gonna need your blaster.
And for purposes of the record, I believe Ms. Merchant, you tendered, was it the entire text chain as an exhibit?
I only tendered a few of the texts, but I did give the state their courtesy
Why
copy
didn't you? You should have tendered everything, girl. You know we're nosy.
last time of the exhibits.
Was this one tendered?
This one was not tendered.
All right.
And I'm happy to tender it.
I know Ashley looks like she ironed her clothes though, or her suit. She
We'll
looks
just
nice.
take it as it comes, whatever you
We're
need.
at, I think we're at 39.
Yeah, that is
I'm
definitely
waiting to mark it,
pressed.
But I think we're at 39. May I approach it?
Definitely pressed. Okay, that was green is kind of, I don't know. I don't know about that green and tan. No.
All right. So Terrence, do you remember telling me that it started when she left the DA's office and was a judge in South Fulton?
I see the message there, but I don't recall. I do see that message, but I do not recall.
You don't recall texting this?
I look back at my text messages through that we've had.
He was
I
possessed.
see that message, but I do not recall that. Ma'am.
And when I asked you if you thought it started before she hired him, and you responded absolutely.
Your Honor, I'm going to object as to the source of the information that Mr. Bradley allegedly gathered this from. There's been absolutely no foundation, and based on the arguments of the last hearing, that a lot of this is based on gossip, innuendo, assumption.
They definitely do a lot of gossiping out there in Fulton County.
And privileged information. And at this point, Ms. Merchant has not provided a foundation as to how Mr. Bradley would have any information that she keeps referring to.
All right. I think that's, go ahead, Ms. Merchant.
I didn't ask him about the source of the information. And under Rule 621, I can impeach him with any inconsistent facts. This is an inconsistent fact. I can impeach him with any contrary facts.
Sure.
This is a
Why would
contrary
it
fact.
be a relevant impeachment if he actually has no personal knowledge of this?
If he doesn't.
Sure. So I think you have to lay that foundation in, so that'll be sustained.
Yeah. Ashley Merchant trial skills. I don't want to say zero, because I'm pretty sure there are folks out there that don't have real trial skills. I don't know. She does not have trial skills. I'm just gonna leave it at that. She's very shaky. Does not know how to put on testimony. Does not know how to cross-examine. So I mean, good motion. I mean, good gossiping. So we can give her that. But trial skills, non-existent.
Do you remember telling me?
I
that
mean,
it
I
began-
think she actually has her questions written out. So if she has her questions written out, I don't understand how she did not cover all her bases.
Well, that doesn't address
What's
the,
the question?
Do you remember telling me that it began?
well, that doesn't address the.
No, not, I was just asking if you remember telling me as opposed to the
Okay,
text.
sure.
Do you remember telling me that it began?
Well, no,
That's
and then you go
leading,
into
by
the
the way.
substance of it, which we haven't determined whether he actually knows or how he knows.
I'm sorry. Merchant trial skills 0. Ma'am, you have your questions written out. This is your motion. This is your motion. So I do not understand how you're not prepared to ask the right questions.
You told me, in fact, you corrected me when I said magistrate court. You corrected me and said it was municipal court. Do you
Yeah.
remember that?
Same objection, Your Honor.
This is the exact same issue, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm asking if he remembers that. He hasn't answered that question yet.
I don't know.
Right,
Trial
but the
skills.
relevance of whether he remembers it isn't established until we know how he remembers it or why he knows it. If that makes sense. I guess not.
Sorry. How he knows it?
Trial skills.
I'm
Absolutely,
just
yeah.
asking if he told me that.
Right.
So I wasn't asking how he knew that. I wasn't asking the source of that knowledge. I was asking if he told me that.
Sure.
That was it.
But
Yes. Somebody rescues her. Somebody else has to rescue her because her trial skills are 0, non-existent.
Point is how he knows it.
Right.
The source of his knowledge, the state would contend is hearsay because it's gossip and innuendo, which is what
Oh, wow.
he did for last year.
Well, it may not be hearsay, it may not be gossip. We haven't really gotten there yet. We don't know how he knows what apparently he's telling her. And I think we need to figure that out before we can go any further.
Right.
Yes. And if the source of the information is a witness who've testified, then it's not hearsay.
That is not true. That is not true. Again, I don't know. Let's leave it there. I was going to go into, the definition of hearsay, but a lot of attorneys think that just because somebody else has testified to it, it's not hearsay. But that's incorrect. Hearsay, out of court statement offered to prove the truth of the matter asserted. So you do need either exemption or an exception for it to come in. That is not true.
So when did the
Needs basics of evidence.
relationship start?
I cannot answer that.
When was your first knowledge of the relationship?
Objection, Your Honor. He's already answered that question multiple times today. He said he has no idea
How far are we into this testimony?
the timeline or when it occurred. That was one of the first questions that Ms. Murphy asked.
I didn't ask when. I asked his first knowledge. He testified he has knowledge that they had a relationship. I asked him when he first got knowledge of that.
Okay, so if the question is, when did you first get knowledge? I think we can start there.
That was the question. Yes.
All
Thank you. When did you first get knowledge of their relationship?
I've said over again that I didn't have any personal information where I could personally say when it started. I've said that time and time again. So I don't know when the relationship started.
The question
And
is
that wasn't my
when.
question. So
Right.
my question is, when did you first gain knowledge?
Right.
I didn't ask the source of the knowledge, didn't ask you to comment on the validity of the knowledge. I asked when you first had knowledge.
We'll get to the how, Mr. Abadi. So I'll note the objection, overrule it. You can answer that.
Just for the record, I appreciate your honesty. But
What's
he
going
said he has
on?
no personal knowledge, so it's clear he had to gain the knowledge, not from hearsay.
He could have gained it from
Sure.
Mr. Wade.
Well, I mean, most of us learn things from hearsay. The question of whether it's admissible, right? And that's what we got to get to. So
I apologize.
When did you first get knowledge? I'm not
And
qualified.
these mics are so shaky. There's too much going on.
What type of knowledge? I'm just asking when you first knew about the relationship.
I don't know how to
Don't
answer
stutter.
that. I mean, so
It's a simple
I
question.
can't give you a date if you're asking for a date.
All right.
If you're asking me, how did I get the knowledge? It would have come directly from my client.
Right.
So help me understand.
I think you say you can't answer that question. You don't know the date. So that's the answer to the question.
But I said that 5 minutes ago.
We have to make it clear.
Yes, sir.
Next question, sir.
So you don't know the specific date.
Move on. Move on. Move on.
Do you know can we narrow down the timeline?
She's terrible. Like Ashley Merchant does not know how to ask questions. I don't know why she has a legal pad. She should have written her questions out. Let's see. Olbag says, I think he was adjusting himself, a little bit of nerves, maybe.
Did you gain knowledge in 2019 of this relationship beginning?
I'm going to object to this line of questioning as he said he does not know when he gained knowledge.
He doesn't know the specific
That's
date.
fine, Ms. Merchant. I think we come overrule on that. I think we can try to see if he can narrow it down based on goalposts.
Thank you.
19, I would probably say no. I mean, I don't have anything that there wasn't a specific date. There wasn't
gossiping out there in
a football game. There wasn't something that I can attribute to him telling me.
This is crazy.
Whatever. And so you're asking for a date. You're asking for a year. It's still a date. And at this time, I am telling you that I do not have the date.
Let's try this then. So you received a contract from Ms. Willis, January 2021, correct?
Can I see the? Yes, I think so.
It's all right. Okay.
I think if it was from the exhibits, I think it was 21. Yes.
And I don't want to belabor the point, even if that was when you were here before.
Yes.
If those documents that you looked at last time.
Yes.
Said January 2022. That's okay.
21.
I'm sorry, 21. You're right. Thank
and
you.
It was, I think, renewed in 22.
It was, yes. So the contract date was that we have in the record is January 25th, 2022.
So they're referring
using that
to
date, at that
assigned
point, had they
counsel
begun their romantic relationship?
contract
of 2022.
January 25th, 2022. 2021, I'm sorry. When you got your first contract.
I mean, he's sweating.
I don't recall. I don't recall any specific dates.
He has selective amnesia.
No.
You remember when you got that contract, is that correct?
I remember I had the contract, yes.
And you told us last week, or I guess it was the week before now, you told us that Mr. Wade brought you that contract, essentially told you about that contract.
That is correct.
So Ms. Willis is not the one that brought that contract to you directly, it was Mr. Wade.
That is correct.
At that point in time, they were already engaged in a relationship, though,
I'm
correct?
going to object, Your Honor.
I can't say that.
Characterization of what Mr. Bradley just said. He just said he does not remember. There's nothing
He
specific.
doesn't remember the exact date. And I think the question now is to reference it or tie it to maybe some other event that he might remember.
I agree with Your Honor. She asked that specific question. He said he does not remember any specific dates after signing the contract. That's exactly what
I mean, he's sweating. I cannot tell if he's sweating or crying. It's something in between.
And to the end of it. So, Ms. Merchant, you don't have much more to pull on here, but he answered that last question. So what's your next one?
Yeah.
And Judge, I didn't hear the answer if they were in a relationship.
And again, I maintain that as Ashley brought her motion, it was more of a fishing expedition, unless she just really has zero trial skills. If she really, really has zero trial skills, and this is how she goes about every hearing and every trial, then that is very concerning. But again, we saw that with Fani. We saw that with a bit with Nathan. We saw that with, Floyd III, fishing expedition.
January 25th, 2021.
Mr. Bradley, do you recall the question?
I recall the question, and I can't tell you accurately whether or not they were in a relationship at the time. You asked me about him bringing a contract. I said he did bring a contract, and that is accurate.
I mean, he's
Do
sweating.
you remember knowing Ms. Willis prior to her taking office as the DA?
I had very little contact with Ms. Willis. I knew her through my business of coming down to Fulton, if that's what you're asking. Yes.
You knew her through the business. So you had met her prior to your contract?
I'm going to object to relevance at this point as to why we're here today.
Sure.
Judge, he doesn't remember much of anything right now. And so I'm trying to create a time.
I mean, what did Ashley Merchant think? Did you? I guess it would depend on the relationship they had, but they must have been pretty close for Bradley to be comfortable discussing discussing his client with her, right? So I don't know. Maybe they used to hang out or something. I don't know what she was expecting. I don't know if she thought he was going to come up here and spill his guts. I have no
Timeline
idea.
to hopefully piece this together.
All right, well, I'm not seeing really the likelihood that that's going to have any success. I'll let you ask a few more questions, but if he doesn't have a date, then I don't know that you're going to be able to create one today.
Okay, thank you.
That's a dead dog. He's fucking a dead dog right now.
So the time that you had this contract from January 2021 until January 2022, did you come in and out of the DA's office?
What do you mean by that?
And so were you able to witness Mr. Wade and Ms. Willis interact during that time?
I'm going to object. This has been asked and answered. It was addressed at the last hearing about Mr. Bradley's access to and from a specific room to pick up files. And Mr.
Yeah, we
Bradley
need to
said
find
that
the
he
previous
rarely saw them together.
his previous
but this was-
testimony.
Yeah, I think the only avenue that was closed at the last hearing was his personal knowledge, potentially through, well, actually, no, if he testified, is that he had no personal knowledge. It's knowledge that conveyed to him that was cut off at the last hearing. That's really the only thing we hadn't been able to explore.
Yeah.
Unless you correct me if I'm wrong,
Knowledge that was conveyed to him by,
by somebody else. That's that he claimed at the time was privilege. I found that it's not. That's what we're here to explore.
okay.
I'm gonna leave her alone. Now she is completely lost. Completely lost. What
You
do you?
remember telling me that not many people knew where they met.
I'm going to object as to relevance, as to his personal knowledge, which is what 602 requires.
Yeah, I mean, we're back to the same point, Ms. Merchant.
His personal knowledge is what I'm asking him what he told me.
But he hasn't yet told you how he knows that. And so unless he can establish why he should be testifying on this at all, then there's no relevance.
And I don't know how he knows that. That would be
Ma'am, you are. What?
the next that would be the next question, but
Ask him how he knows it.
I first have to establish that he said that.
No, you don't. You could go the other way around.
Yeah. Trial skills 0. Ashley Merchant has 0, 0, 0, 0 trial skills. 0 trial skills. And this is what we're seeing here. We need to take a closer look at her. Okay. Because obviously, I know Doug, I could tell that he had 0 workings of, the what is this? Criminal courts, criminal proceedings. But there are also attorneys, like criminal defense attorneys, prosecutors, public defenders that don't have enough trial experience. That seems to be what we're seeing here with Ashley Merchant, because I'm hoping it was only in this hearing, because if this is generally how she conducts direct and cross, then a big trouble. But then again, that's I guess what plea dealing is for, because a lot of folks just plea deal. So Denise said Merchant knew and had a good relationship with all the parties involved. This witness, Wade's law partner, offered up this info prior to his sudden memory loss episodes on the stand. I do not doubt that, but on the stand, people take on different personalities. So, yeah.
When you told me that it started when she left the DA's office and was a judge in South Fulton, where did you gain that knowledge from?
I'm going to object, because his testimony a few minutes ago is that he did not recall making that statement.
All right, I'll overrule that. Mr. Bradley, answer the question if you can.
Repeat the question.
When you told me that their relationships,
And this is ordinarily, these circumstances are a little strange. Fulton County as a whole is, I don't know. What I mean by that is, as far as the defense attorneys, the prosecutor's office, a little shaky. Ordinarily, it is not advisable for attorneys to directly talk to potential witnesses. Uh, that's to avoid this mess that we are seeing here. It is best to question a witness about something they told or may have told somebody other than the attorney that's asking the questions, because this is just sloppy. Get an investigator, do something. But this is a mess.
Started when she left the DA's office and was a judge in South Fulton. Where did you obtain that knowledge from?
I don't recall.
I was speculating.
Oh, wow.
I didn't have a
He was gossiping.
no one told me I was speculating.
No one told you that?
He was being a chatty patty. That's exactly what was happening. He was being a chatty patty, gossiping about his own client. And Denise says, not shaky, shady, corrupt as hell. That might be a better way of putting it. Those are Denise's words, not mine. But I cannot believe. There's a lot. I'm going to leave these people alone.
No one told me that.
You were speculating based on things that had been told to you or things you had observed?
So I'm going to object as to the nature of this line of questioning, because the witness has made it clear he was speculating.
He was gossiping.
As to how or what he knew. And if it's speculation,
Bradley
it's
was
inadmissible.
gossiping.
All right, but the motivations for his
At his
reason for
big age.
speculating would be admissible, so I'll overrule that.
Thank you, Judge. Was this speculation when you told me that? Was that based on things that had been told to you and things that you had witnessed?
I never witnessed anything.
Yeah.
So, it was speculation. I can't tell you
He likes to gossip.
anything specific, if that's what you're asking.
You can't tell me anything specific as to why you speculated about that?
No, this was
Just
however
likes to
many years
gossip.
ago. I mean,
He just
don't
likes
recall,
to
but
gossip.
No, I don't.
Did you have any reason to lie?
He likes to gossip.
I don't know if speculation is lying, but
Well, let me just show me where in this text it says you're speculating. Or
you didn't
guessing.
ask me if I was speculating or guessing.
I didn't ask you, but tell me if it says.
And this is exactly why, because now this is they're going beyond just direct examination. It's turning a bit more confrontational. She's getting a little frustrated because obviously there was, I guess she had an expectation that Bradley would get on the stand and just spill his guts, and he's obviously not doing that. But the manner in which she is approaching him right now, let's just go back a little bit. The manner in which she's approaching.
You didn't ask me if I was speculating.
Exactly. And you don't even do that. You don't. And that's why I'm like, I don't know. An attorney does not just approach a witness without getting permission from the court. You ask the court, may I approach? You don't just walk. You don't just walk to the. You don't just walk up on the witness. This is, yeah, what I've seen in Fulton County, as far as court practice, very, very concerning. Very concerning. But, and again, I go back to the behavior that I've seen, and it's that Weisel trial, and obviously this hearing, the manner in which the attorneys carry themselves. That goes for both the prosecution and the defense attorney. I have not seen licensed attorneys behave in this manner.
Or guessing.
I didn't ask you, but tell me if it says anywhere here that this is speculation.
If this is the same one that you just showed me, it does not.
And you're welcome if you need to look at your text. Is there anywhere in here that indicates that you didn't have knowledge?
This is not even court testimony anymore. I don't know. I guess it's friends or BFFs, frenemies fighting in a public venue.
The line of questioning Your Honor directed counsel to explore is where he got the knowledge. He's explored that. He said it's speculation, and he didn't get it from any source other than his own speculation.
Sure.
So
I think we're flushing that out, and I think it's her right to have a little leeway on this if he's an adverse witness.
Thank you, Judge. And Judge, these speaking objections are clearly coaching the witness because he's regurgitating.
Your Honor, I object and take offense to that comment. I'm
Yeah,
objecting.
and that's I don't even know why she would say that. She obviously does not have the skills to elicit the testimony that she wants from this witness. And in order to cover up her lack of abilities or her lack of skills, she's now moved on to attacking the prosecution.
Thank you, Judge. And
That is, I mean, I'm not Abati, but that is highly offensive.
these speaking objections are clearly coaching the witness because he's regurgitating.
Your Honor, I object and take offense to that comment. I'm objecting based on the law, and I'm making a record for the court. So I take offense to that comment. It's not the case.
All right, well, I think we can start with objection, the grounds, and the rule number, and then if I need more, I'll ask.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. What did Nathan tell you about the relationship?
Objection, hearsay.
Nathan has testified. It's not hearsay.
That is not, and again, even if Nathan has testified, it's an out-of-court statement offered to prove the truth of the matter asserted. That is hearsay. Regardless of how the judge ruled, that is clear hearsay. Absent an exemption or exception, that is hearsay. And this is not the only trial I've seen this in. I don't remember which testimony, but it was in the Weissel trial as well. I don't remember if it was prosecuted. It probably was a defense objection. But just because a witness is on the stand or another witness was on the stand, if you're eliciting testimony, a statement that was made outside of court, or a statement that's not being made for the first time on the stand, it is clear hearsay.
Still hearsay. It's an out.
And here's the thing: hearsay is one of those areas that that is tested the most on the bar exam, because a lot of people do not a lot of people, but potential attorneys, and I guess even in practice, attorneys do not know what hearsay is.
Court statement being brought up, the truth of the matter asserted. So hearsay.
Judge,
it remains.
Yeah, this would be for.
It remains hearsay regardless of what's his name again? Nathan Wade having taken the stand, unless there's an exemption or an exception.
For impeachment by contradiction, which would be an exception to the hearsay rule, and admissible as substantive evidence, and the privilege issues are overruled.
Thank you, Judge.
Well, I think you guys overruled the privilege objection, but we don't know what he's talking about. So we've already established that December 2018 was the date of the privilege.
Sure. And that's something I covered in the in-camera hearing. And based on what he told me in that in-camera hearing, I don't believe any statements.
I don't understand why Nathan Wade is sitting at counsel's table, because he has not, we see the pen, we see the, the legal pad. He's not said a thing. He's not objected. I don't know. What is he doing out there?
To this effect, we're covered by privilege.
And Judge, I just want for the record, because sometimes the record doesn't reflect where people are looking, and that when I ask a question, Mr. Bradley is looking at Mr. Wade and his lawyer to wait for them to object, and they're clearly interacting.
No, they're directly. Those folks are sitting directly in front of him. So, yeah, fishing expedition
somehow in the court. So I just want the record to reflect that, because it wouldn't otherwise.
It's there now.
I don't know, but Judge McAfee, let me leave him alone.
Judge, one of my lawyers is sitting right in the back.
We're not going down that rabbit hole. You can look wherever you want.
Yeah, and I've never looked at Mr. Wade or his attorneys. That's unsculptured.
All right. Mr. Bradley, question.
Oh my goodness, Fulton County.
Oh,
These people are frustrating me, so I'm gonna switch over. Let's switch over to Fani We're gonna switch over to Fani a little bit because she is the one and only Miss Grey Goose. Okay, she's 50 big. So let's get to Fani because she's entertaining kinda. She's entertaining kinda. So let's go back to Fani.
And then I have,
I'll withdraw the objection. You can move forward.
okay.
Go ahead. I don't remember the question, so I can answer it.
But you can now that the objection's been
I
withdrawn.
remember.
Can you try to answer that question?
Yes.
Was there still a safety concern for people staying at the house?
What's the question?
Yes, I was very concerned about my father still living at the house. However, if you have dealt with an older gentleman,
I remember this.
he was not leaving the house, despite my urging him that I thought he should leave as well.
Okay.
He did not want to leave the house because he was particularly worried at his age about COVID. But that became, I don't want to say, I was not happy.
Listen, we're gonna go back to the cross of Floyd III, the cross that we saw yesterday, right? I don't remember the attorney's name, but he was somebody on Zoom, and he was pretty aggressive, right? And a real thing wanted to know what I thought about his his style of cross-examination, right? Because he was obviously very aggressive. He talked about something about it being a black thing. Something about it being a black thing. As far as Big Willis advising his daughter to always maintain cash, right? And obviously the line of questioning was charged, as was let me see, the line of questioning was charged, right? But what I liked about that cross-examination, as aggressive as he was, we were able to elicit that at the time of Mr. Floyd's preparation by his attorneys, Fani Willis was present in the room. And that's important. I mean, obviously, Judge McAfee made his decision, right? No, you're not bleeding, boo. He had made his decision. He found that, the relationship between Fani and Nathan was not improper, but it could potentially have the appearance that it was, right? And what I liked about, the evidence or the testimony that was elicited during that charged and aggressive cross-examination is, again, I've been talking all this time. How long could you not hear me for? I was talking all this time. I don't know what happened to my mic, but I was talking all this time. Can I go back in my live? I don't want to mess up this live. Yeah, I don't know what happened, but for some reason, the mic on my screen was muted. I don't know why, but I know. Obag, tell me, what's the last thing you heard me say? Tell me that, and then I'll try and catch up. But for now, I'm gonna play Fani. Tell me what the last thing you heard me say was. That's if you cannot go back, then that's fine.
With that decision of my father's, but I can't ultimately make him leave, and he stayed there too long, in my opinion.
Okay, thank you. During that period that you left to go to the Yerty condo, Did any of your children stay at your house?
So I don't think that they were there at that point. Certainly my baby wasn't there.
I'm talking about this entire period. We're talking about, if I remember correctly.
When she says her baby, who's she referring to? Because I thought, Realty and I talked about this last night, but I thought that Fani had a younger kid that's a son, about 7, maybe now 8. I know something keeps going on with my mic. It keeps muting my mic. Something about my mic being unplugged. I don't know what's going on. But let's yeah, I don't know. Something's going on.
You'll correct me, I'm sure. You said that you stayed there at what I would call the Yerti condo until January of 2022, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm asking you in that period, which would be February to April of 2021 until January of 22, did any of your children stay at your house?
And you don't have to yell at me. I'm able to understand.
Wait, what?
So
You see, this is why we need to listen to Fani, okay? This is why we need to listen to Fani, because she just, I don't know, she just says things. Let's go back. She just says, I'm like, I don't know. Kind of, I don't know, Fani. I don't know.
January of 22, did any of your children stay at your house?
And you don't have to yell at me. I'm able to understand.
She said, what? Hold on. She said, what?
Your house.
And you don't have to yell at me.
Was he yelling? Did he elevate his voice? I'm going to have to go back.
Correct?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm asking you in that period, which would be February to April of 2021 until January of 22, did any of your children stay at your house?
And you don't have to yell at me. I'm able to understand.
Did he? I don't know. I don't. Was he yelling? I don't know. Did he project his voice? I don't know, Funny.
And so I would ask you to not yell at me. That being said,
I don't know. Old bag. Did that man yell out? Old bag said, I don't think he yelled, but he's getting frustrated. I don't know, Bonnie. Hold on, Miss Greg.
Stay at your house.
and you don't have to yell at me.
Okay.
I'm able to understand. So I would ask you to not yell at me.
All right.
That being said, I don't actually expressly remember, but I can tell you since I have left my home.
Yeah, she is. Fani is evasive. Okay, she definitely took charge of the proceedings.
There have been times my oldest daughter came in, but I can't tell you with certainty the time window that you said, if they did or not. And so I don't want to speculate to that, but there was some time that my oldest daughter came back.
Okay.
Whether it was that period or after I left the Yurdi residence, I'm not sure, okay?
Okay, so if I continue to go into more detail on this, you're not going to be able to give me an answer of whether or not, in fact, any of your children were still at the house or stayed at your house during that time period, correct?
What I can give you clarity of so that we are clear is from the time I moved out in February-ish of 2021, after I left there, there was a time period that my oldest daughter came back. But if you're asking me, was it in that window or after, I just don't have a recollection of that because, you know, the kids come and they go. And so I don't remember the specific time period, and I apologize for that.
Did your children ever stay with you at the Yerti condo?
Like maybe a night.
Okay.
Like for a girls' night or something, but live with, no.
Okay. Did anyone else stay with you at the Yerti condo, including?
Okay, now I'm just thinking about district attorneys, right? I'm thinking about district attorneys, and I think obviously we're gonna have a recap of some pretty insane, you know, I guess crime stories from 2024. And for some reason, I literally like what's her name? The DA from it's upstate New York. Um, I don't know. She was very entitled. I never followed up to see what happened with her matter. It was a it was supposed to be a traffic stop, but she drove all the way to her house. I think her name was Sandra Dorley or something along those lines. Anyway, so this is me making a mental note for myself, okay? Because I don't know, some of these folks, Obeg says, do you think Fani thinks this is a game? Do you think she thinks she's the smartest person in the room? Um, I think when she entered that courtroom, we can go back. We can go back to her, I need to find that video. I actually need to find that video. Hopefully it doesn't mess up this video. But when she walked in there and she tossed some papers, pleadings, documents on the prosecution's table, and she just basically walked herself to what is this, the witness stand. I think from the perspective, because again, I think she was very stupid. This was a very, very stupid thing to do. This a commingling of private parts was okay. Here's the thing: she definitely could have commingled her reproductive organs with Nathan Wade's organs. Okay, my real issue is her going on to hire him as special counsel on a case of this magnitude. That is my real issue. As far as commingling, I'm like, I really don't care. They're grown, they can commingle. But as far as the case itself, it should have been foreseeable that defense attorneys were going to come after them for this. Okay. So I think that when she walked into that courtroom, not even, I think from her perspective, this was a nothing burger. She thinks that this should not even have been scrutinized, that the judge should probably not have allowed, the hearing to proceed. But uh, it's not to say that she was gaming them, right? But I think that she probably she's her demeanor to me, her demeanor says that I guess she does think she may appear to actually know more than what these folks know. But to me, she's not giving them any type of respect, right? I think she thinks that they were wasting her time. That's how I interpreted the manner in which she, presented herself during the hearing. And then Obek says she walked in with her hand. Yeah, she walked in with her hand on her hips, and she was like, who dares to question me?" I just the whole thing is a little strange. Yeah, she thinks she shouldn't be questioned. Yeah, for sure. I think that from her perspective, this is not worth exploring, but she's incorrect as far as the defense attorneys and the defendants are concerned. Um, yeah, I just, Fani, I really, I don't know what she was thinking with, but she was not thinking at all.
Ms. Yurt,
Never. Miss Yodi never lived in the condo. She met her husband
Right.
and they moved. They weren't quite married, but they moved. Nobody ever lived with me in the condo. That was
my word was stayed, not lived. Stayed with you at the condo.
I guess I don't understand the distinction, but no one ever, I think my baby's my oldest child. I think she spent one night with me, maybe my oldest and my youngest. But I think that whole time I was in that place, other than that one night, I don't think anyone ever, there was a very lonely period in my life. I don't think anyone ever spent the night other than maybe one night.
So I guess that's important to know. She said during this time when, she was being threatened, folks were going to her home. She said it was a very lonely period in her life. So not to say that she had a moment of weakness, okay? I would like to think that she actually likes Nathan Wade beyond just commingling of genitals. But I think that's important because I was trying to I was just the decision, clouded judgment. I'm struggling with that. But I guess from the perspective of her being a human being and having needs that involve the reproductive system and genitals, I suppose it does make sense that if she is lonely and I don't know, because if I'm not mistaken, Nathan Wade was going through divorce proceedings at the time, right? So I don't know if he was looking for an escape out of his marriage or if he was in fact always attracted to her. But something happened, okay? Something happened. Uh, and then Oldbag says sometimes she looks like she's going to laugh. And I would think, again, we do have moments whereas if we think something is, not worth our time, or if we think a certain line of crossing, maybe she thinks the line of questioning is silly. So, yeah. And then Oldbag says, actually, if she was lonely, that does explain, not a bit, it explains a lot. It explains a lot. So, Oldbag says, not to excuse, but being lonely is really difficult. Yeah, I suppose that could explain it. And again, I have no issue. I take absolutely no issue with Fani commingling, bumping a coochie up against Nathan Wade. I have no issue with that, right? My real issue is the fact that she messed up this case. That is my problem with Fani Willis, and she messed up this case by hiring Nathan Wade. And from the perspective of individuals that have a background in criminal defense, they should have seen this coming. Unless Fulton County, and again, I've only been to Atlanta once in my life, okay? Once in my life. Maybe I'll go back. I don't know what I'll be doing in I want to go to Savannah. I know random stories. I actually always wanted to go to Savannah, Georgia. Hopefully I get to do that in, I don't know, the next few years. But that said, unless things work differently in Fulton County and they've been able to get away with a lot, I just do not see this as, I just do not see how they thought the defense would not challenge this case. I absolutely, I cannot fathom how their judgments were clouded to this extent. Um, yeah, but let's carry on.
Picture of my baby sitting on the couch in that place, and I'm thinking she spent that night, but just a very lonely time in life.
Okay, we'll stay with the lonely theme just for a minute. Did Nathan Wade visit you at the Yerty condo from the time you moved in until he was hired on November the 1st of 2021?
So I moved out of that condo, but during that time period, I'm sure he came to visit. He came to visit. I can remember us going, I think the restaurants literally split. I can remember him picking me up.
I need, for folks, you know what? If I actually had a lot of time on my hands, I would pretty much go around paying visits to any and every restaurant that Nathan Wade and Fani Willis went to, like they Patreon or because the way that she's supposed to really be answering questions, but she tells us about Grey Goose. She goes on to talk about Napa Valley, how she does not like wine, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. I would probably do that just for the sake of doing it, but that's if I had a lot of time on my hands, which I don't have right now.
Time period. I'm sure he came to visit. He came to visit. I can remember us going, I think the restaurants literally split. I can remember him picking me up, going to lickety split and eating, ordering some food, and coming and sitting at my table and eating. Okay. So I remember times that he visited me at that condo. Yeah.
Okay, could you give us an approximation of how many times Mr. Wade visited you at the condo between the time you moved in and prior to?
I knew Old Bag would be on board. So Old Bag says that would be so fun. We'll interview staff, ask how she did 50 big. Yeah, that's actually a great idea. Like, I don't know. Maybe the 10-year anniversary of, I don't know, the, what is this? The Trump indictment or something. That would be a great idea. Just but then again, places might not exist by then. They might change names, and but that would still be a great idea. Just literally gallivanting around Atlanta. We go to Napa Valley. We somehow have to end up on a cruise, and at the time somebody has to be going through a divorce so that the mother-in-law can come along. We need the whole thing, the whole.
November 1 of 2020.
I don't think often, but I don't want to.
Actually, when I turn 50, I need to do a 50 big. So yeah, it's a fantastic idea.
Like,
what's the question?
I don't think often, but I don't.
Prior to November 1 of 2020.
I don't think often, but I don't want to speculate.
Can we say more than 5, more than 10?
And I know for folks that are in, I was just thinking about my dog. Okay, I have a dog. I have a virtual dog. It's not a real dog, but I have a virtual dog named Huey. Named Huey P. Obviously Huey P. Newton, but I have a virtual dog, and I was just thinking about my dog, and I have to pet my dog and all types of things. But you don't even really have to be in a long distance relationship, but there's an app called Cozy Couples. Check it out. It's actually, you have to pay for it, or maybe change. I paid for it. Anyways, I had to pet my dog. What's the question I missed?
I'm gonna tell you the problem I'm having here.
Okay.
Let's say more than 10, but I'm not sure that that's even accurate. He certainly has come and picked me up.
All right.
Gone and grabbed some food to eat. I don't remember him being in that condo a lot.
Oh, where were you guys?
I'm sorry. You want a number, and what I don't want to.
You're giving me your current and best recollection is all I'm asking for.
That's all I can give you, sir.
How many times did any of the prosecution team, how many times did Anna Cross come to that condo between the time you moved in and November 1st of 2021?
I don't think Anna's ever been to that condo.
What about any other prosecutor that's involved in the prosecution of this case?
I don't think any of them have.
Just Mr. Wade.
That's correct, sir.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a lonely time.
Thanks, old bag.
That 2021. I have a lot of guilt about this time period in my life. Let me tell you why. But yes, it was a lonely time.
Okay.
I was very appreciative to the citizens for giving me this responsibility and this duty. But what I very, very quickly learned is that this is a very isolating job.
All right.
And 2021 was a lonely time. I turned 50 in 2021.
Big 50.
It's probably one of the worst birthdays I've ever had. I spent it alone. So
Dang.
I have a clear recollection of 2021 being lonely.
Okay. Did Mr. Wade ever come visit you at the condo, the time period I'm talking about, prior to November of 2021, when Ms. Yerty was at the condo?
So Ms. Yerty and me, we didn't share the condo at the same time.
So the answer would be no.
But we never stayed there together, so it's an impossibility.
It's an impossibility.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, Ms. Yerty, because we need to get clarification on this. Ms. Yerty stayed in that place. There may have been a time that me and Mr. Wade visited, like went and saw Ms. Yerty.
Okay.
But me and Ms. Yerty never lived there together.
Listen.
Just so we're clear.
I need to take this timestamp down, okay? So Fani and Wade went to go see their good friend, or at least once upon a time, it was Fani's good friend, and they went together. This is what I'm telling you. Listen. Folks you work with are not your friends. Under no circumstances do you blur those lines, okay? That woman was not her friend to begin with.
Maybe that was clear, but I'm going to have to try again.
Okay.
Was Miss Yerty still living in the condo when you moved in?
I like how he says Yerty, because I enunciate all my that's literally how I speak. Somebody else would say Yerty, and I say Yerty.
Okay.
So when I'm talking
misrepresentation in this, we never lived together. I never lived with Miss Yerty.
My question, though, I'm trying to understand that after you moved in to the condo, Miss Yerty she was out of the condo, right?
She got a house.
That's all I'm asking. She's not in the condo.
She is, we never stay, Miss Yurti and I never stay a day.
Real thing, if you're in here, let me know because you're the one that was interested in the decision. My phone is off and I'm either gonna have to charge it so I can read that, or if you're not in here, I'll just do it tomorrow. So yeah, let me know if you're in here, and if if you're in here, then obviously you're interested in the decision. So I'd have to charge my phone.
Together in the condo. All of her stuff was out of the condo, and all my stuff, some of my stuff, not all of it obviously, was moved into the condo. So we never stayed there together.
All right.
No, sir.
All right. So when I asked you about Mr. Wade visiting the condo, when you were staying there,
Yes,
Miss Yurti wasn't staying there, correct?
that would be correct. Yes.
She wouldn't be at the condo, correct?
No, she would not have been.
It would be you and Mr. Wade
we established
alone
that.
at the condo.
Where are we?
Correct?
Yes.
What are we
That
getting?
is, there weren't any other witnesses to Mr. Wade and you at the condo, correct?
Yes.
No security, none of your security
I
detail.
would object. She said it was just her,
Right.
Mr. Wade.
You made your point, Mr. Sadow. Let's move on to the next.
Yeah.
Yes, Your Honor.
What am I missing?
Who in the prosecution team prior to, I guess, the motion being filed by defendant Roman, who in the prosecution team knew of your personal
Old bag is so funny.
relationship, and now I'm talking romantic, with Mr. Wade?
So, sir,
Yeah.
I am extremely private.
All I ask
No, no,
is
no,
who
no.
knew? It's not, if the answer is no one knew, that's fine.
No.
I ask you who knew.
Answer
me just tell
answer
you
it and then explain this with us.
I am very private. When I supervised Mr. Body and Mr. McAfee, they didn't know who I was dating, but I can assure you,
Listen, here's the thing about Fani Willis. It's less about Fani and more about the judge. The judge directed Fani to answer the question, and she went on to just explain and basically disregarded him. So McAfee should have. He's the judge, okay? He is the judge. He is the one that has that black robe on. I don't know why he allowed it. Again, maybe he's not. He obviously did not have a lot of bench experience at the time that he presided over this case. But then again, this was it was publicized, so that may have something to do with it. Maybe he would have had better control if there were no cameras in the courtroom. I don't know. I just don't know why the judge allowed Fani to walk all over him. It makes no sense to me. It makes no sense. Obviously, she was his supervisor, but that ended. Okay, that ended, and he is now the presiding judge. I don't know why he, did not bring her in a little bit. And then Oldbag says she obviously isn't as private as she thinks. Here's the thing, though, Oldbag. This information was revealed by Bradley. So it appears that Nathan is a bit of the talker because Nathan revealed this information to Bradley, who was his attorney at the time, which usually it's the proper thing to do because there are two people you're really not supposed to be lying to. One, your doctor, the other, your attorney. I cannot understand why Bradley was doing all that gossiping. Why are you gossiping about your client to another attorney, especially in this case, right? Why were you doing that? It makes no sense to me. It makes no sense to me because he still owes certain duties to Nathan Wade, even though he may not have been representing Wade at the time. I don't understand. Chatty patties. So Oldback says, "Oh, Nathan is the talker." Or maybe she's better at being private. Yeah, because this information was revealed by Nathan Wade's attorney. If I'm not mistaken, Bradley was representing Nathan during or through his divorce proceedings. So I don't know. That should have been. I don't know why these men are chatty patties. I really have no idea. I guess I mean they're human, so I guess everybody's a little chatty patty.
I was dating somebody, so that I kept something private, that's my private life, is not any mystery to anyone. It's
Yeah, but I mean, you still went on to go tell Yurdi, and she worked in your office, and she was moved to some department that she was not happy with. So,
it's like a woman doesn't have the right to keep her private life private. And I'm speaking on this because there have been all these intimations.
You still haven't answered the question, Ms. Willis.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Yeah.
Is there anyone else who knew about it? And then you can explain.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah.
I certainly didn't go out telling my business to the world.
Okay, so the best of your recollection, you didn't inform anyone on the prosecution team that the individual that you had chosen to lead the prosecution team had a personal relationship with you.
So
Is that correct?
That's inaccurate. Your question is inaccurate.
What?
I have something to add. I think we have to go back to the hierarchy. I wish my phone was on. We have to go back to the hierarchy of, the attorneys, including the special counsel and all the other assistant DAs, the ADAs that were in charge of this case. So I could foresee, right, if Nathan Wade is supposed to lead this thing, right, and he has zero experiencing leading, not even leading, forget leading. If he has zero experience trying a case of this magnitude, I could foresee, especially considering that he was getting paid buku money, right? I could foresee that creating some type of resentment between between the folks that are already on her staff. And again, I don't know what Fani was thinking, but this she did not think. She definitely did not think this through. Not one bit.
Is that correct?
That's inaccurate. Your question is inaccurate.
Your question.
Because you stated that the person I chose, we had a personal relationship. So we had a friendship. We have all these distinguishing factors. Remember, when I chose him in November of 21, first of all, let's get this straight.
Okay.
Mr. Wade was not actually my first choice. That's no insult to him. No, it is you because of the way you phrased the question. You said, when I chose him, I didn't inform people of a personal relationship. We have defined personal as romantic. It is an inaccurate way to state the question.
And I will certainly restate it so it is very accurate.
Okay, and please do not yell at me.
Oh.
You hired Mr. Wade.
Oh my goodness, this is sheesh.
Wade for the first time on November 1st of 2021, correct?
November of 2021, yes, sir.
Your testimony is, whether one accepts it or not, your testimony is that at the time you hired Mr. Wade, there had never been a romantic relationship with Mr. Wade before you hired him, correct?
Yes, my testimony is that we were very good friends, but we're talking about a sex, so let's just don't.
No, I'm not talking about, I'm saying romantic relationship doesn't necessarily have to be just sex. It can be dating.
I don't know. I don't know. So the way that Fani is answering the question, that leads me to believe that she was bumping her coochie against, his reproductive organs. But they had not defined a relationship at the time. That's my reading of what she's saying.
It can be holding hands. It can be any of those things that one might call romantic. I'm asking you whether or not prior to November 1st of 2021, there was a romantic relationship with Mr. Wade. It's very simple. It's either a yes or a no.
I don't consider my relationship with him to be romantic before that. I'm not a hand holder, so no.
Oh,
that's
that girl.
Now,
That girl said she is not a hand holder. That is not her thing. She's into other things, but holding hands, that is beneath her. Okay.
let's move beyond November 1st of 2020.
All right.
2021, excuse me. If I understand your testimony,
Yeah, I definitely think they were bumping parts um longer than anybody knew. Uh, and it's just based on, and I mean, we can take a closer look at Nathan Wade, right? We can take a closer look at his testimony. But the way that Fani is responding here, it leads me to believe that they were bumping reproductive parts. They were bumping their genitals prior to them defining the relationship. Because sometimes, I mean, adult folks, it can be casual or whatever, just casual bumping and grinding. But then there comes a point when you have that discussion and somebody wants to define the relationship, right? So I mean, she said she was lonely. Okay, the girl was lonely. So I would like to believe that while she was lonely, they were bumping reproductive parts, grinding reproductive parts, and during that time, because if I have my timeline right, Nathan Wade was was still married and going through a divorce. The divorce was not finalized, so I would like to believe that they had not, defined an actual romantic relationship. It was just, bumping and grinding until hopefully he finalized his relationship. I mean, his divorce, which would then solidify what they had going on. That's just me speculating, though.
was no romantic relationship with Mr. Wade until early in 2022, whether it be January or February or March, early in 2022, correct?
I would say sometime between February and April. Yes, sir.
All right. Now I'm asking you about that time period when it became romantic.
Yes.
Okay?
Thank you.
Okay. You didn't see the need, if I understand, to tell any of the people on the prosecution team when you had established a romantic relationship with Mr. Wade that the lead prosecutor, that is the man that was basically giving orders to others, was dating or having a romantic relationship with you, correct?
I'm going to object to relevance at this point, Your Honor.
No relevance. Just to prove or attempting to show that there is an issue on the credibility about the relationship. The failure to have informed anyone on her team that she was having a romantic relationship with the lead prosecutor, I suggest gives rise to that inference. That's the relevance.
The inference that
they were concealing this because it was not as it's been characterized to the court, and that in fact it started earlier than what they say.
Okay.
All right, overruled. Mr. Seda.
I just want to make sure that we're clear.
Just answer the question.
At least 2020, me and Mr. Wade were friends.
Okay.
At least that time period.
Okay, I'm not talking
Okay,
about.
so no, I want to be clear because my credibility is being evaluated here, right? We were friends. We hung out prior to November of 2021. In November of 2021, I hired him. I do not consider our relationship to have become romantic until early of 2022.
Okay.
Because I don't know a date and time. I'm saying sometime between February and April of 2022.
Let me ask you
and
out.
very early April of 2022, because I know that trip that I discussed with you was like the first week of 2022, that the relationship had become romantic.
When did
I
he
hope
ask
that
you
answers your
out?
question. But I can't have it where, we're saying something differently.
All right, so you've established the timeline as you put it. The question originally was, at that time, did you tell any other prosecutors?
I never tell people at work who I'm dating.
All right, Mr. Seda.
Okay. Did you take any trips to DC with Mr. Wade?
Never.
Did you take, okay, so you have no, what I would call.
Okay, old bag. So I suppose we cannot go to DC because We cannot go to DC because they did not make that trip.
Personal trips or business trips to DC with Mr. Wade?
I never went to DC with Mr. Wade, personal, business, otherwise, never.
Okay, so
I've never been in the District of Columbia with Mr. Wade or Maryland, Virginia, the DMV as they call it.
So as I understand it, to be clear, any trips that you would have taken to see DC
That was a pretty clear answer.
Huh?
That was a pretty clear answer.
Well,
She just said no.
twice.
So you have a variation or something new to bring up?
All right, so at least these last few minutes, we have seen McAfee actually take charge or control of the courtroom, which is great.
I'll ask it and we'll see.
You'll do
Did
what?
you take trips to DC that were non-business during the time period that this case or this matter was under investigation?
I'm going to object as to relevance as it relates to the matter that we're here before Your Honor.
Well, again, the question already asked is, did you take personal or business trips? She said.
But that was with Mr. Wade. That was with Mr. Wade. This I asked her alone whether she took.
Okay.
What's the relevance?
And what would be the relevance of that?
I'm trying to understand whether or not we have the ability to show a personal trip in which
What?
Mr. Wade is there at the same time. I understand her answer. Okay, I understand her answer, but we have documents, we have records that.
Your Honor, I'm going to object to the documents, the things that.
Well, this could be something that's maybe not part of the record yet, but if he has I think there have been other things discussed in this case, and they have evidence that Mr. Wade may have been in DC at the same time. If you want to ask about that exact specific date, Mr. Sadon, you can do that.
I would reference to the court that that was not asked of Mr. Wade, anything about any trips to DC.
Sure. And so that's going to limit its merit and impact on credibility. So Mr. Sadon, ask the question.
So
I understand your testimony is you never took a trip to DC
All
with
right.
Mr. Wade,
that's correct.
personal or business.
That's correct.
Were you ever in DC at the same time as Mr. Wade?
I was not.
On personal or business?
No, me and Mr. Wade have not been to DC at the same time. However, since Mr. Wade has been on this case, he's been to DC. Since Mr. Wade has been on to this case, I've been to DC. What has not happened is we have not been in the District of Columbia at the same time. Now, the only thing I'm not sure about with what you asked me is if I've been to DC personally, because I've had a lot of personal friends in that area, but I know that I have been to DC. I did an interview at Howard University. I went to DC for that.
Okay.
Seems like I've been to DC one other time. Oh, I went to DC for the Global Summit. Actually, yeah, those were two separate trips.
My next question is based on her opening the door, and therefore I'll just ask it and Your Honor can decide whether or not it's appropriate. When you went to DC, did you go to the White House?
I did not go to the White House.
No, well,
Apparently I'm going to get the answer anyhow.
there you have it. Next
So
question.
FFS says, can we not watch Funny anymore? Why don't you want to watch Funny anymore?
Okay. You indicated.
I think this is, he says he's sick of her. So I know, I think this is a good time to watch Funny against the backdrop of the Court of Appeals decision.
Your best.
I can switch over to Bradley. If you would enjoy watching Terrence Bradley better, I can definitely switch the screens.
Recollection was that your relationship with Mr. Wade, a romantic relationship, ended.
And Brooklyn says, FFS, where have you been? Something about him getting on a flight. I don't know where FFS went, but he was on a flight. And Brooklyn says, are you live? Yes, I am. FFS does not like her dress. All right.
Left it in August of 2023. That sound right?
That's the hard conversation. That's not the.
We've covered this.
I
Next
got
question.
distracted. What was the question?
You left it in August of 2023. Ended a romantic relationship. You left it in August of 2023. That sound right?
That's the hard conversation. That's not the.
We've covered this. Next question.
And you characterize it as a tough conversation, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I'm not going to get into the conversation per
We
se.
should.
Well, if he doesn't want to, we won't go there.
Yeah. That girl wants, she wants to, get into she wants to get into, the thickets of that relationship.
So, Mr. Sagan, next question.
It's kind of hard to say no when you've got that opportunity.
Yeah, like
Should
get
proceed.
get into it. She wants to talk about it.
And you characterize it as a tough conversation, correct?
Yes.
I'm not going to.
I don't know. I cannot take Fani seriously. Why did she? All right.
Get into the conversation per
We
se.
should.
Well, if he doesn't want to, we won't go there. So, Mr. Sagan, next question.
I mean, Fani owned that courtroom one way or another. She, Oh, okay. You guys are talking to each other, so I'm not going to strain my eyes.
It's kind of hard to say no when you've got that opportunity.
Take it.
All I'm going to say is, was it pre-indictment in this case?
So,
We know the timeline that the indictment was delivered.
but,
actually,
and so that
I'll
we're
give you
clear, the physical relationship ended pre-indictment.
And is that when you were talking about the tough conversation?
But I'm not sure that the tough conversation didn't happen until after, but the physical relationship. So I'm sure if you ask Mr. Wade, because he's a male, he would say we ended June or July because physical contact ended then. Just in my mind, being a woman, it's over when you have that like hard conversation.
So they stopped bumping parts, June, July, but she was still, I guess, attached to the man.
I just think women and men think differently.
Another 30
And I
years.
think the answer, Mr. Sato, to your question was she's not sure whether it was before or after the indictment.
Well, I'm not sure that was her answer, but let's see if I can get specific.
That is what I said.
Yeah, move on.
That's what I said.
I'll let you. Next question, Mr. Sato. If you need to
Want to say one more? The romantic relationship ended before the indictment was returned. Yes or no?
What?
To a man, yes.
Well, to a man, yes. To you, no.
She's explained this, Mr. Sato. She's explained this.
And did the forthcoming indictment have anything to do with that? Or was it just a coincidence?
Mr. Let's go on and have the conversation.
No, I'm just asking you whether or not it was a coincidence.
Hold on. Fani was not playing with these people. All right, come on.
Or was it just
But again, she brought this mess upon herself.
Coincidence.
Mr. Let's go on and have the conversation.
All right.
No, I'm just asking you whether or not it was a coincidence.
Had absolutely nothing to do with this. It's interesting that we're here about this money. Mr. Wade is used to women that, as he told me one time, the only thing a woman can do for him is make him a sandwich.
Okay.
We would have brutal arguments about.
Wait. He said what? This is insane. Like, I don't know.
Wade is used to women that
that makes me wonder, does anybody know what Wade's ex-wife did for a living? Was she a homemaker? I don't know. What did she do for a living?
He told me one time, the only thing a woman can do for him is make him a sandwich. We would have brutal arguments about the fact that I am your equal.
Okay.
I don't need anything from a man. A man is not a plan. A man is a companion.
All right.
And so there was tension always in our relationship, which is why I would give him his money back. I don't need anybody to foot my bills. The only man who's ever foot my bills completely is my daddy.
All right, so I'm gonna take this timestamp so I can send this to my man. I feel like starting an argument, so that's exactly what I'm gonna send. Oh my goodness.
Is there anything else you would like to add to that?
No.
Sure.
I'm sure we'll talk about it further.
Brooklyn says, I keep thinking a lot about this clip. This woman needs a psychological therapist for her narcissistic behavior. She can't even get a guy without using the power of DA's office. I need you to elaborate, Brooklyn. Elaborate. My phone is off. Otherwise, I'd allow you to call. I'll send the link. Hopefully, you need to get Google Chrome or I don't know, get something so you can get on here. I need you to elaborate. I need you to elaborate what you mean by that. But oh my goodness, Fani is something
Is there
else.
anything else you would like to add to that?
Man is not a plan.
Sure.
I'm sure we'll talk about it further.
No, we're not going to talk about it further.
All right, no back and forth. Let's stay down. Next question.
My next question is something that that has to do with what I've characterized as the church speech. Let me
Right.
just tell you what the question is, because I know that's not something.
Preserve it for the record.
Huh?
You can preserve the question for the record, but then we'll move on.
That's correct. Thank you. When you gave what I've referred to as the Martin Luther King weekend church speech, you know what I'm referring to?
A great honor of mine. That's a historic African-American church. Yes, I do.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Did you have handwritten notes with you that you were reading from during the speech?
And on second thought, Mr. Sadov, because you might have a number of questions about this, why don't we just bullet point what you would want to cover on this, reserved for the record, and then we'll move on to the next topic.
Okay.
Since I had laid out before that the forensic misconduct isn't a
So
subject.
do
of the
I
evidentiary.
not get an answer for that?
That's right.
Okay. Did you read your speech?
Well, no, Mr. Sadov, for everything related to any forensic.
Oh, you just want me to stay out of it now?
We're just not, we can do it in a bullet form if you just want to cover what you would have asked, but it's not in a question and answer format.
Okay, so I should do that at this point or do it
Sure.
when you're
Do
ready?
it right
We
now.
can do it right now, so it's fresh on
I'm
your
going to ask her about, did she
Do it right
prepare the
now.
speech? Did she have notes on the speech? Did she read the speech? When did she do this? When did she write?
And alpha male, how did she do that? Okay. Because alpha male, aka Brooklyn, says, I mean, she used the power to get into Nathan's pants. How do you? I have an opinion on this, but I need you to elaborate if you can. Old Bag says, not me. I need Old Bag says, I need a man for money and more money and also money. Don't hold my hand though. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Funny. I really don't know, but yeah.
The speech? Who was she referring to when she was talking about others? Who was she referring to when she said they? Who she was referring to when she spoke in terms of their, that is.
I would love to answer those questions.
Well, Ms. Willis, you could certainly do that in some other format, but for today, that's what we decided we're not going to cover.
Who was she talking about that was playing the race card, and why she didn't tell people at the church that she had had a personal / romantic relationship with the, all due respect, the way it was characterized, the black man that she was referring to, and was the black man she referring to, was that Mr. Wade?
Okay.
That's that area of inquiry.
Noted for the record, Mr. Sadov. Next topic.
Okay. I realize that you testified that you have no records that with regard to cash payments,
Yes.
correct?
Mhm.
Would your bank records reflect that you withdrew cash from your bank accounts during the time period of 2020, 2021, 2022, or 2023? I'm not asking you, I'm just asking whether they would
What's the
reflect
question?
that you withdrew cash from any of your bank accounts.
So the exact amounts?
No,
But
just
yeah,
that you did.
Of course, I withdrew money throughout that time period, throughout my life. I withdrawn money from the bank. Yes, of course.
Talking about cash from, that is, that you go to a
Cash,
bank
right.
or you go to an ATM
Cash.
and you take cash out.
Either that way, or you go to Publix and you overpay, or you go to another store and you overpay. So yes, both through that, yes, of course they would reflect that at times.
Okay, and so those records, if we had them, would show that, correct?
That throughout the course of my life, I took out money.
I was very specific. I said
Yes, during the course of
2020.
that time period, I would have taken money out. Yes,
So
really dumb.
do you have a problem with?
I absolutely. Yes.
You don't want the bank records to be made available for the court and the court
I'm
alone?
going to object as to the relevance, and this has already been addressed earlier as it relates to other records. This is an improper line of questioning. He's doing it for the purpose of harassment. Right, Your Honor.
I'm just going to sustain it on relevance. Mr. Sadov, that's something you want to follow up privately? You can do that.
Last area, briefly.
Yes, sir.
You had contact with Mr. Wade in the year 2020, correct?
Ooh, I had.
The Brooklyn says, if the cash in a house was withdrawn from a bank account, BS, she needs to fill out a FDIC paperwork for 10,000K. I don't know that she said, did she say that she had 10,000 at one time? I don't know.
Some contact with Mr. Wade.
Would you explain when you say some contact? Please tell us, talking about 2020.
I had some contact with Mr. Wade
What
in
kind of
2020. One of the reasons your allegations are so preposterous, or Ms. Merchants that you have joined, is.
Ma'am, I didn't ask you about the allegations. I asked you about your contact. That's all I ask you. Okay? I appreciate that you want to say something, but I'm interested in, did you have contacts with Mr. Wade in 2020? And your answer so far has been yes, correct?
Very limited contact because Mr. Wade had a form of cancer that makes your allegations somewhat ridiculous.
I do appreciate the
I'm not
characterization.
going to emasculate a black man, but I'm just telling you.
I'm sorry, what?
I'm not going to emasculate.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on here. Hold on. Okay, let me go back. What's going on?
And your answer so far has been yes, correct?
Very limited contact because Mr. Wade had a form of cancer that makes your allegations somewhat ridiculous.
I do appreciate the
I'm not going
characterization.
to emasculate a black man, but I'm just telling you.
I'm sorry, what?
I'm not going to emasculate a black man. Did you understand that?
All
So I
right,
don't think we should
back on
discuss
track.
further.
Mr. Seda, next question.
What on earth? What's going on?
Trying to, Your Honor. Would you tell us on the occasions in 2020 that you had contact with Mr. Wade?
I'm sorry. I thought I had answered that. Yes, sir. There were times in 2020 I had contact, but 2020 was a year I was running for office. It was a year that he was going through some serious medical issues.
I know, Brooklyn.
And I did not have much contact, but I certainly had contact with him in 2020.
Did you go out to eat with him?
Maybe, probably.
And I might be mistaken, but I believe the paperwork you're referring to, that's required if you're actually engaging in some type of transaction, such as if you're purchasing something, if you are going through an airport with an excessive amount of cash. I know that you need to have that for cash that's just lying around your house, but yeah, as far as what he had, I really do not know. I don't know what he had.
Did you visit him in any location, his office, or did he visit you in your office in 2020?
I am sure I'm sure. Ooh, that's a very good question. I'm sure he came to 7.
And real thing, if you are in here, please let me know. Let me know if you're in here.
50 in 2020.
750 is
was my office.
okay.
Not often, but maybe once or twice. Maybe I went to his office once or twice, but maybe once.
And the purpose for going to his office would have been what?
Have
Maybe
lunch.
he would have went to Mellow Mushrooms for pizza.
How did I know?
Maybe he would have come for lunch. I'm sure we went by.
How did I know?
But not often, not a lot. We both grinded, trying to.
Olbeg, I hope you're taking down all these. Hope you're taking down the names to all these restaurants because we need to go on a food tour. Okay.
But wait, I understand what you've said about the cancer, and I'm not going into that. But when you were going out with him to restaurants, or when he
Brooklyn, you're such a hot mess. Brooklyn, I'm not even gonna read your question out loud.
would come to your office, right? Those were not sterile environments, were they?
I mean, either way, I guess they might as well have gone into that because they asked about everything else.
Oh, very sterile because it was.
The restaurants were sterile environments?
A lot of times we wouldn't eat there. We would pick up something and go in, but they were.
I'm listening to you. You pick up and take it to where?
Maybe eat at our office, but it did not happen much. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. In my office in 2020, nobody was coming in. I was stir crazy, so I would still go into my office. You remember when I started this, I said, I am not even sure if we came to each other's offices, but I am trying to be over cautious. So I think I can recall him at 750 a couple of times. I just think I can recall him at 750 once, but let's say twice. I have seen his office. I remember all the awards in the lobby.
Oh my
But I'm not
goodness.
sure in 2020 I went. I'm not even sure I went in 2020 at all. I just want to tell you yes, because I'm not sure. But I have a distinct recollection of him at 750. I actually don't have a distinct recollection of me at his office in 2020. But maybe I went to his office in 2020. Maybe.
Did you have ongoing phone conversations during 2020 with Mr. Wade?
Oh yeah, I talked to. Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Yes, no question about that.
No question. I talked to him on the phone in 2020.
I understood, and this is, maybe I was confused. The Belize trip was for
his 50th birthday.
His 50th birthday, and that was in
March.
Big 50, or what did she say? 50 big, okay? Belize was 50 big. She did it big.
He turned 50 March 18th of 2023. If you look at the dates of the trip, I think we were there about 6 days. We stayed at 2 different locations.
Okay.
And you paid for it.
100%. He said, not only, I paid for the hotel, I paid for the flights.
All right.
I had a birthday luncheon for him. I paid for massages. I
Well, would you be doing any of this for a man? Yes or no? I need to know.
paid for everything.
And would those payments be reflected on your credit card?
Cash.
You paid them in cash?
Cabs. I was telling you all the different things.
I'm asking you whether or not those payments would be reflected on credit card bills of yours.
So there was about $500 that I think is reflected on a debit card.
Okay.
What my recollection is I took about 4 in cash with me to that
400 or 4,000?
4,000. But I remember I handed him
Big baller, okay? That girl said she had $4,000 cash, okay? $4,000 cash. She was out there paying him.
cash with me to that
400 or 4,000?
4,000. But I remember I handed him 2,500, and then the rest was just the money we spent. I probably
He gave that man $2,500 on his birthday. Isn't that something? Oldback, would you be doing this?
gave $300 or $400 to this guy who was a taxi driver. He would drive us every day around the 2 or 3 days we went. Took him to eat like it was my trip money.
And you had
Oh, Oldback said her generosity is conditional, okay? Her generosity is conditional. The only way she's gonna spend $4K on a man is if the bumping and grinding is good. If it's trash, forget it. Okay, Oldback.
end this up. The 4,000 that you just told us.
But I didn't give it all to him. Remember, I only gave the 2,500 to him.
I didn't ask you that. I was going to ask you that 4,000 is part of my words, cash hoard that you had collected over time.
Cash what?
Hoard, HORDE.
Oh, I thought you said something different, sir.
No, I'm afraid I wouldn't say that.
Oh.
Any
I don't know. Man, this is so chaotic. Go back. She said, you said what?
cash hoard that you had collected over time.
Cash what?
Hoard, HORDE.
Oh, I thought you said something different, sir.
No, I'm afraid I wouldn't say that.
I know. I'm so childish. I'm very tickled by this. She said, what? She was shook.
My words, cash hoard that you had collected over time.
Cash what?
It said cash.
HORDE.
Oh, I thought you said something different, sir.
No, I'm afraid I wouldn't say that. Under any circumstances.
I mean, you said other things, but okay.
To you or in.
All right, back on track.
So hoard, cash hoard then.
I would not clap.
Fulton County is something else. The place is something else. Oldback says, I think she did 50 big for herself because she said her 50 was horrible. So really was the big 50 for him or her. I agree with that. I think she was reliving her 50th birthday through Nathan Wade's reproductive organs. Okay. She was living 50 big through his penis. But yeah, she went all out. She went She went on. Brooklyn, you know what she thought he said.
Classify it in that way, but I have money at my house. Yes, sir.
And the money, when you had money at your house,
When I was speaking too loosely. I had money wherever I was staying. So I was not referring to my house in 750. I'm saying I had money wherever I was laying my head. Yes, sir. That was my fault that I wasn't clear.
so when you were at what we said the year
All right, 50
during
big.
the time period we've always discussed, that's where you would keep your cash.
When I stayed there, yes.
Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
Yeah, that's what she heard.
All right, I want to see if we can get through a few more defense counsel if possible before breaking for today.
All right.
Mr. Stockton.
All right, let's quickly I don't know. Brooklyn, what do you guys want to do? Do you want to go back to Bradley or should we stick with Fani for a little bit? Yeah, she always I don't know why this is tickling me, but your message is actually I find it funny. Maybe it's the emoji. But yeah, she apparently kept money wherever she laid her head. Okay. What do you want to do? More Fani? Do you want to switch over to Bradley for a little bit? What do you want to do?
Madam District Attorney, I'm Alan Stocks, and I don't think we've had the
I'm
pleasure of
impressed
meeting.
with you,
Pleasure to
baby.
meet you, sir.
That is a press.
Madam DA, you described these various trips, and Mr. Sadow asked you about going to Washington.
Mhm.
Did you and Mr. Wade go to New York?
I've gone to New York. I've gone to New York
Shout out to Jerome.
since I've been district attorney.
All right.
I'm trying to think if it's 2 or 3 times. I went to do a domestic violence thing there for sure. And I was
All right,
on
so old bag said Fani, so Fani it is. Yeah, Fani has a lot of highlights. As for Bradley, oh no, Bradley was just let me leave it right there.
and I went to the Apollo there. Those are the only 2 trips that come to mind. I went. He was not with me.
We're about to find out.
You also said that he was a world traveler and had been on many of the continents.
I've been to 6.
Have you been on any of those continents with him besides this one?
Where's Belize? What continent is it? I'm not being funny. I don't know.
Let's say, with the
I've been
exception
to
of
Belize with him. I've been to the Bahamas with him.
Okay.
I've been with Aruba with him. Don't embarrass me. I'm not sure what continents those are on. Whatever continents those are, that's where I've been. I'm sure if I gave it some thought, I would tell you. But whatever continents those are, that I've been to those locations, sir.
but not Australia or any other continents.
I don't even want to go to Australia. I do know he took a trip in December to Australia.
Baby, here's what we know about Fani Willis. She says people don't vacation in Tennessee. She says people don't vacation in Tennessee. She has absolutely no interest whatsoever in I wanted to generalize. I'm not going to generalize. She has no interest in going to Australia. She does not want to eat Marmite. She has no interest in seeing any kangaroos. No interest whatsoever. So okay.
I have no idea. I don't know anything about that trip.
When
All right.
Mr. Wade began working with your office,
Yes,
he had 2 other gentlemen that worked in his firm with him. Is that correct?
yes. Terrence Bradley worked for.
Listen, old bag, the only way we can go to Bahamas, somebody has to be going through a divorce and we need that person's mom to be present. All right. Well, that's the only way we can get out there.
Him and Chris Campbell worked not for him. They worked with each other.
Yeah.
Did you understand what their partnership arrangement was?
No,
No
Did
interest.
he ever make you aware of how fees were divided or anything?
No interest.
no.
Now, since you have been district attorney, the 2 gentlemen that worked with Mr. Wade and his firm, they also had contracts with your office. Is that correct?
I probably had. I don't.
I don't know if we've covered this with Ms. Willis, but I still don't know what the relevance would be of her testimony to this.
But I've had about 10 people. Oh, I'm sorry. Do you want me to answer
Let's
or
figure
not?
this out.
I don't know, old bag. How are things looking over there? How are things looking over there? Are they shaky or no?
Judge, respectfully, I think based on Mr. Wade's testimony, he had an interest in those contracts. Sure.
And then, but how's that been imputed to Ms. Willis?
Yeah.
I don't know whether or not she knew she was giving him that benefit. That's what I was trying to explore.
Okay. Well, maybe we can start with that question, and then if she doesn't know about it, then the ins and outs of all the contracts wouldn't be quite as relevant.
Goes to lay a foundation for that, though.
All right, folks, I know Jerome's not here, but a lot of you have gotten used to being tucked in, okay? So we're going to get our swaddle blanket right now. We have about 5 minutes. I need to go. I have Santa Claus duties to report to, okay? I need to wrap some stuff. Yeah, I need to wrap some stuff. So when Zeta wakes up, hopefully she cannot hear me. When she wakes up, we have some stuff. She has some gifts under the tree. So yeah, that's what we are gonna get into. So 5 minutes, and then I absolutely need to go. Brooklyn says, poor guy, his mom needs to watch him on a cruise to Bahamas. And then Old Bag says we need his mom to be on the stand. What would she be talking about? Yeah, when my son was going through a divorce with my daughter-in-law, he was on a cruise with Fani Willis, and they were bumping genitals.
Let's see where it takes us. Go ahead.
The two gentlemen that were in Mr. Wade's office, did they have what I think's been referred to as a taint contract?
So let me be clear, and I may get the names wrong. When I first became DA, the office was not properly staffed.
Okay.
And so I'm surprised any lawyer would take it, but I did a contract for like $60 an hour to help us out with first appearance.
Okay.
That lasted a few months.
Okay.
So I can't remember if Bradley or Campbell had that. I'm sure we can have records and I can tell you which one, but I just can't remember now. I liked their experience. Bradley had been a probation officer and a defense attorney.
Okay.
Campbell had been a police officer and a defense attorney. There's a reason I'm telling you this. Then that contract, like I said, it didn't last long. It was just, I was aggressively hiring. As soon as I got where I felt like I had first appearance, enough lawyers for that, I let them go.
Okay.
Then we had what's called a filter contract, but it was not filter for this particular case. I do have a lawyer who does the filter for this election interference case. When we're talking about filter, the contract they had that neither one of them has any longer. I now have another lawyer that does that for me. It was only for police.
Brooklyn, who are you referring to? And then Old Bag says, my son just went on the cruise because Fani needed him to carry her cash for her to lay her head on. All right, that girl said wherever she lays her head, she needs a stack of money. Okay.
Brutality cases is for what I call the. So when I first got to be the DA, I had the whole unit was called anti-corruption. It dealt with both elections and police brutality cases.
Okay.
I actually took a trip to Houston and visited the district attorney in Houston. They divided their work up. And I thought the way she was doing it was better than me. Mm-hmm. And so I made a civil rights unit. And so they did what we would classify as
this. Who was doing what better?
They divided their work up to Houston and visited the district attorney in Houston. They divided their work up. And I thought the way she was doing it was better than me.
Okay.
And so I made a civil rights unit. And so they did what we would classify as civil rights cases. Those are specifically the police brutality cases. Mm-hmm. When I first took over, I was told Paul had not filtered 5 cases. That was a joke. It ended up being the 101 cases. They weren't filtered, which is why I hired 2 of them. Eventually, we got it down enough that it was 1 of them. And then now I still have 1 lawyer that does it, but now I've been able to cut those cases down to like 30.
Can you tell me help me understand what the purpose of the filter is?
Yes, sir. So what a filter is police officers make statements in the line of duty, and you are not allowed as the prosecutor to know what those statements are if they're done in the furtherance of their employment. And in fact, if you know what those statements are, you're basically disqualified from the case. You can't have it anymore. So what
Brooklyn, Old Bag has some questions for you, okay?
policy is. I think I pay them like a $50 flat fee. They pick the case up directly from the GBI because
Okay.
that's where those cases go to. And then what they are to do is to go through the entire file. So the body cam, which is important because sometimes they'll make a statement to their supervisor on body cam, in the police reports where they write things. If it would be easy if it was just some statement of the police officer, but what you find out is these statements are embedded in it. And so what your filter lawyer does is they go through it, they either redact it out electronically
Oh
or
my
they
goodness,
cross it
Fani.
out. And then once it is crossed out, then they provide it to my team, and then we're able to look at it. That was not being done appropriately when I became district attorney. I thought that it had only been, so Mr. Howard had some Chinese wall thing that I didn't think worked at all, where allegedly those cases were properly redacted. That ended up being a joke. And so the 5 cases really
Yeah,
turned in.
I don't know what Fani's talking about, so this is a good place to end. No, let's actually get past this mess so we don't have to deal with
I'm
it
not going to
again.
say all 101, but a vast
I
majority.
guess they're supposed to be talking about contracts and contracts being assigned to Bradley, but right now they're talking about the Chinese wall in Houston. So
That is the work that Mr. Bradley and Mr. Campbell did for me. They did a really good job. All of those cases that we originally came with, they're done. Those cases they're not just done for Mr. Bradley and Mr. Campbell. They're done through my office. But obviously life is not stagnant. There have been new police cases. I do have a lawyer that is doing that work now. That doesn't work for me. That's same kind of deal. I have another lawyer that does filtering for this case.
Damn.
Completely separate.
So in the same private office, you had a filter contract, then you had somebody else handling first appearances and so.
No, I'm not doing this. So I'm not. I know. We have Brooklyn. We have Brooklyn and Old Bag in the chat, okay? I'm not even going to read these messages out. You guys can read them for yourselves. Okay. All right, folks. This is a good place to end. It's a good place to end live stream. Tomorrow is Sunday. Okay, I don't have work on Monday. Maybe a little bit. I'll do a bit of work, but I'm off on Monday. So I know a lot of you probably have to go to work on Monday. Old Bag, I don't know. Old Bag, what are you doing on Monday? So tomorrow, let's start. I need to have my kid in bed though. So tomorrow, let's start around 8:30 p.m. Okay. So tomorrow, 8:30 p.m. That's Sunday. I don't know why I'm saying tomorrow because it's really today. 8:30 p.m. That is when we're going to start. I'm going to go through some stuff. I'm going to pre-record some videos. I don't know exactly when I'm going to post those. Tomorrow, Sunday is actually a good day. Yeah, I'm going to pre-record some videos. I'll post them whenever. Just a heads up. Today's what? Let's look at the calendar. Hold on. Yeah, I might save those for January. Today is what? The 22nd. That's one. Oh, that's Sunday, right? That's 1, 2, 3. In about 3 weeks, you guys are not going to like me for this. In about 3 weeks, I will have limited availability. Okay. So that week of January 11th through January 20th, I'll have limited availability. All right. So during that time, I'm going to have to upload some pre-recorded lives. I'm just giving you guys a heads up because I have stuff going on. Yeah, but Sunday, 8:30 p.m. Unfortunate pause, but feels right. Did you want to go more into it? I don't know, Old Bag. They're boring me, so I'm gonna have to skip through some of that before we get started on Sunday. Uh, uh, Brooklyn, I'm not done with everything just yet, but I'm also not gonna spend anymore. Like, my kid has so many toys. A kid cannot play with all this stuff. Even this year I did not buy. We just have too many toys. We have too many types of toys, a whole bunch of them she has not even played with. This year, I don't know, she's played with probably 2 or 3 dolls, and we have toys. We have a lot of toys. Um, I'm still I mean, I did throw some away. I know, terrible. But when she doesn't keep her room clean, the stuff that's on the floor has to go in the trash. So I threw some of her stuff away. But I keep some of the toys. I don't know if she's gonna have a sibling. In the event that she does end up having a sibling, then, or at least, right then, I don't have to buy all this junk. I don't have to buy all this junk. But my sisters, they are growing their families. I have a little nephew, you guys. I have a little nephew. This will be his first Christmas. All right. So in the event that they do end up with little girls or whatever, then there are toys and things that they can take, and when they come over, they have stuff to play with. So as far as Christmas shopping, I have done the best that I can. Um, I don't know that I'm buying anything else. Oh, and we had our office lunch on Friday, and we were all just exchanging gift cards because that's what everybody bought. So we're 4 women. It's a law office of 4 women, and everybody just bought gift cards and just exchanging gift cards. So we all basically ended up with the same amount of money we started out with to begin with. But last minute, because I was actually going to buy gift cards for everybody. The attorney I work for, she absolutely loves pokey. Okay. So I was going to get her a gift card to a pokey place. But then for the paralegals, I could not really figure out what kind of gift cards to get them. Um, so I left it at that, and I just bought everybody plants. I know. I bought everybody plants. I went to a store. I told them I don't grow. They're from Santa, okay? They're from Santa's garden. But I gave everybody a plant and we called it a day. So I'm done shopping. I have to buy something for my nephew though. But other than that, I don't know. Like Christmas is not my thing. I don't want to be out here spending all this money for. Brooklyn wants to know, what did I get my daughter? You tell me. Well, what did you get your family? I bought a whole bunch of junk, if I'm being honest, but she is at a stage where she's into makeup. I don't wear makeup. Makeup's not my thing. Like, bless all the folks that I've ever dated and been in relationships with. Like, I just rock up. I take 2 showers a day and I rock up. That's good for me. And I iron my clothes. Most importantly, I iron my clothes. Yeah. So anyway, she's into makeup right now. And because she's into makeup, I did not buy her makeup, but I did get her a Sephora gift card. I got her some clothes. I got her some Nikes because we have this thing. We have an advent calendar, and it's an advent calendar that has slots. It's a wooden advent calendar, and at the very top, she puts her list for Santa, right? So I had the privilege as being Santa's assistant, right? I went through the list. I went through the list and I bought some of the things that were on the list. There's something called Elephant Dunk. It's supposed to be I don't know if it's a beauty line or if it's a makeup line, but I bought some stuff from Ulta that I have to pick up tomorrow. I just bought face wash and moisturizer, if I'm not mistaken. Like, I'm not going all out getting makeup. Got an Ulta gift card. I bought clothes. I did buy 2 dolls. I bought one of those Our Generation dolls, and then I bought some other doll. My thing though, only this year, things did not pan out the way I wanted them to. Because for Thanksgiving, I really wanted to spend Thanksgiving in New York City. I wanted to take her to FAO Schwartz because she's getting older. She's not gonna have another opportunity to actually, go into a store that large and get stuff. So maybe next year. I think she'll still be into dolls. I think she'll still, yeah, I think she'll still be into that. But other than that, Honestly, I don't even really know what I bought. I bought a whole bunch of junk. I still have to open my boxes. So, uh, oh my goodness, old bag. Don't do her like that. Don't do her like that. Okay, so Brooklyn, right? Because Brooklyn is Jewish. How much cash do you give? How much cash do you give your kids? Because I think you have 4 children, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, gift cards. Yeah, old bag. I'm the same way. I need to throw some stuff away. Oh, my kid wants a dog. We cannot get a dog. We cannot get a dog because I'm a germaphobe, but you guys know I'm about to shine my floors. I'm about to shine my floors. So I don't want fur, I don't want hair, I don't want poop, I don't want urine on my floors. So I don't know, maybe she'd have to be responsible though, because my kid, for her to clean, even for her to wash a cup is a lot of work. For her to vacuum her room, I have to literally stand there and watch the room. If she got a dog, I would have to take care of the dog. I just don't have time. That's why I have a virtual dog. Okay. Okay, so old bag likes old bag likes the fact that, I got some plants. Okay, so Brooklyn says Amazon gift cards. That's what I got. I probably have $200 in Amazon gift cards from my coworkers. And my kid had a birthday a few months ago, and her friends gave her Amazon gift cards. I don't really shop on Amazon. Like that's on my thing. I love cheap things, okay? Shout out to Walmart. Big shout out to Walmart. Like, give me a Walmart gift card. I know exactly what I'm going to get. I'm going to get some of that great value, some of that great value items. But Amazon gift cards, like, I rarely go on Amazon. When I go on Amazon, I'm buying books for sure. I'm buying books. Right now, I'm reading. Hold on, let me get on my bedside. So right now I'm reading Marcus Garvey, Message to the People, the course of African philosophy. I really need to finish this. I need to finish this book before the year ends. So on Amazon, I buy books. Recently, I bought 3 of Ta-Nehisi Coates' books. I'm gonna start them in the new year. I don't really shop on Amazon. If I'm on Amazon, I'm buying a book. Other than that, I'm probably going to buy some cheap made in China stuff. Like if it's my kid's birthday coming up, I'm gonna buy a tutu. That's where I'm gonna get it for cheap. Like one of those birthday shirts. They're usually cheaper on Amazon than Etsy. Those that say, I don't know, it's my 5th birthday or whatever. Um, decorations, like cheap decorations. Other than that, if I'm buying seasonal things, I like Target. I like Target. But oh my goodness, let me see here. So Brooklyn says Sephora makes an advent calendar that's nice. I don't Brooklyn, I'm not into makeup, so I don't know, but I'll check it out for 2025 and beyond. Oldback says, what about a fish? We had a fish, unfortunately it passed. Her name was Bubbles. And I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. She might be disappointed though, because once she wanted a hamster, and I bought her like one of those. I bought her a toy hamster. She was so disappointed. Not that I think about it. One of my friends said that was mean, but that was just me trying to be considerate. And we ended up with a hamster, and the hamster had an unfortunate. It met its end, and I was terrified anyways. Like I don't know, the claws or whatever, those were no gross. It reminded me of rats. Brooklyn says, my daughter asked me for a Dyson hair dryer that's $500. Are you gonna get it? That's a lot of money. I mean, in all fairness, if that's the only thing that she wants, then sure, right? Because I'm saying that's a lot of money, but I'm pretty sure I spent a whole bunch of money on just nonsense. So yeah, that's a lot of money for a dryer though. But what does this hair dryer do? And I only know this because hair dryers are expensive. I don't remember if it's Dyson, but I'm pretty sure during my time as a public defender, there was somebody in a courtroom charged with stealing a hair dryer. I don't remember how much the hair dryer was, but it must have been a lot of money because they brought charges against that person. Old Bag loves Amazon. Great. I'm gonna um I'm gonna purchase an Amazon gift card and I'll give it away here. Actually, I'm just gonna use one of my Amazon gift cards. I can re-gift. I'm gonna get one of my Amazon gift cards, and I'll put the numbers on here one day. Let's see, we'll do it. I think we'll do it when today's what? What's the date? My stomach's growling. I do a bad job of eating. Oh wow, we're like 3 days away from Christmas. One of these days, I'll put that Amazon gift card on here. I don't know how I'm gonna do it. I don't know if I should take a picture and then post it or individual numbers. I don't know, but I'll post that on here. So hopefully, old bag. Hopefully it's yours. Otherwise, some other person that enjoys shopping at Amazon can have it. Yeah, I'll do it on Christmas Day. That's what I'm gonna do. I'll put it up on Christmas Day. No, but Christmas Day, that's a day for folks to spend with their families on the 26th, which is what day is that? Is that the Thursday? When is Christmas? I think Christmas is Wednesday. Right. No, but let me do it the day before because Thursday I'm working. I'm back at work. Okay, so Tuesday I'll put up that Amazon gift card. I'm not working. Am I working? No, I'm not working on Tuesday. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what somebody's doing with. I don't know what somebody's doing with a $500 Dyson hair dryer. Who even buys that, right? Okay, Obek says Uggs is what my daughter wanted last year. So much money. I got my daughter Uggs this year. This was in time for what is this? When it got colder, right? I don't know why they cost that much money, but I sucked it up and I bought them. They're cheaper options though. Like, listen, folks, when I tell you guys I'm cheap, I'm cheap. I bought her Uggs from what's the place? Nordstrom Rack. That's where I bought. That's where I got the Uggs. They were still a little over 100 or close to 100, but it's not 140. So yeah. Okay. Oh, they're hard. I guess if they're hard to get, that's why they're $500. Yeah. RIP to Bubbles, and then RIP to the hamster. I won't be asking you to watch my. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Definitely don't ask me to watch your goats, because you know, we want your goats to be all together. And then, um, what was the hamster's name? I forgot. I don't even know what the hamster's name was. Okay, so it is the 22nd. And yeah, sometimes you just have to give in. You have to give in and call it, I don't know. That's what you have to do for your babies. But guess what I'm gonna get for myself? I'm gonna buy myself an ironing board. I'm serious. I'm gonna buy myself an ironing board because my kid, I don't know what she was doing, but she messed up my ironing board. So I'm gonna get myself an ironing board. My iron has been fantastic. I'm not getting a new iron this year. It's been great. I've had this iron for maybe 2 or 3 years, maybe longer. It's a Walmart iron, you guys, but it's fantastic. It's fantastic. Like the first time, because this is a replacement iron. I'm always buying cheap stuff. Like that's my thing. So prior to this iron, I had a really, really cheap iron. And when I started using this iron, I had to tell my sister about it because this is like probably the Rolls Royce of irons. It's a Walmart iron, but I spent some money on it and it's smooth. It's very nice. Okay, so old bag. Uh oh, Olvek says I'm funny and she loves hearing about my life. Yeah, I'm getting a new ironing board, and we're gonna call that ironing board. We're gonna call her old bag, okay? Uh, and then they have steamers that are really good and costly. I had a steamer. I've not had great success with steamers. Yeah, I recall I had a steamer. I bought it. This is 2024. I purchased this probably 4 years ago. And I spent some money on it. And I don't like spending money on stuff. The only thing I really spend money on is my daughter. Okay. My daughter says she wants something or she needs something. I'm getting the best of the best, even if it's from Nordstrom Rack, okay? Even if it's at half price, that's what I'm doing. But for myself, I typically don't spend a lot of money on myself. I buy my clothes. Like I shop at H&M, you guys. Like that's my thing. I love H&M though, because I hate bright colors. In H&M, they usually have black, and that's my color. So I'm usually dressed in black from head to toe. Like when my baby was okay, last story, and then I really need to go. When my baby was just born, I had to, I don't know, I had to take her to some, a girl was heavy, my daughter was heavy. Okay, here's the thing. Right now I'm a little chunky, but I've lost weight. But when my baby was first born, even then, I weighed, most of my life I weighed 100 pounds. Okay, I weighed 100 pounds. I'm not a midget or anything. I'm like, I know I told Jerome that I'm 6'1" or something. That's not true. I'm 5'4". I'm 5'4". So 100 pounds, 5'4". This girl was chunky. I always had a hard time carrying her because she weighed a lot. When she was, I believe, when she just turned 2, a girl weighed over 40 pounds. So my girl was really, really chunky. But in any event, I always had to take her to the pediatrician. And the reason why I was talking about weight is because I always had a hard time carrying her, especially in the car seat. And they would always tell me, like, you probably need to get some bone. You need to do something. You need to put some meat on those bones. Yeah. So every time I went to the doctor, I was always dressed in black. And she was like, did somebody in your family pass? I was like, no, I just love wearing the color black. But yeah, anyways, a lot of rambling. Obeg says, I'm the same. I hate spending money, but for my kids, I'll go broke. Yeah, that's me for sure. I don't like spending money on myself, but I might have to suck it up and go get these sister locks. I've attempted to create my own sister locks a number of times. I once spent an entire week of my vacation trying to get my parts right, and I wasted so much of my time. So yeah, I might get some sister locks. I don't know when. I was thinking I might go to Mississippi because I trust folks in Mississippi to do my hair, and not just that, it's cheap. That's what I was telling my man. I'm like, it's cheaper for me to get my hair done in Mississippi. But he's like, yeah, but you're gonna have to spend, you're gonna have to actually buy a flight. You're gonna have to get on a plane to get there. But we'll see, we'll see. All right, folks. So Sunday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. We'll get into some stuff. And then what time is it? Yeah, it's 12:30. It's good because usually our lives are like what, 2.5 hours. So this is a good time to stop. This is a good time to stop. So I'll see you guys. Obag, Brooklyn. Thanks for hanging with a girl. I think there was somebody else in the chat. Oh, FFS. Thanks for hanging out. Did I miss anything? I think that's everybody. Okay. So we shall be back today. It's really today, later today, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. And then be prepared around January 10th. I'll try my best to come on the live every night, but I'll not be able to be on the live for extended periods of time. So I will just have pre-recorded. I'll have pre-recorded videos so that you guys don't get to miss me too much. All right. All right. Good night, folks. Have a fantastic Sunday, and then we will reconvene later. And then Obeg says, bye Alpha Male and bye Essa. All right, folks, have a fantastic night. I don't know for Obeg. I think Obeg is on the East Coast, though. Yeah, I think Obeg is on the East Coast. But we'll leave it at that. All right, folks, have a fantastic night. It was great hanging out, but now I am off to bed. All right. Good night.